210. Hey guys, this is Natasha with Nothing 210 Podcast. Thank you to Vodpod Media for housing and producing, and to Latino Podcast Network for having me on your network. Guys, if you're watching, go listen, and if you're listening, go watch. Either way, go to YouTube and like and subscribe. It sounds so pretentious when I say that, but please do it, please. I appreciate it. So you're going to want to see my guests as always because I have the best guests. So please introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, it is David Hernandez-Valdez from San Antonio.
Born and raised?
Born in New Braunfels.
Okay, so then no.
Been here majority, yeah.
Wow.
I love San Antonio. I won't go anywhere else.
Is it better than New Braunfels?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you heard that?
It's right there, but I still like San Antonio way better.
Yeah, no, as long as the people in New Braunfels know that.
Yeah. Oh, I make it known. I'll never move back to New Braunfels for sure.
Dang. Okay, so what is it that you do here in San Antonio?
I am a local real estate agent. I just got my license. I'm part of the R Group, and that is actually with Malif Realty. I'm under my husband, Ruben Hernandez-Valdez, and I'm also a local fitness instructor. I'm a Zumba instructor and have been for years. That's a big part of my life. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And also Duke of the Riverwalk.
Former Duke of the Riverwalk. Correct.
No, always.
Always.
Not current, but always.
Always.
I know. I'm like, how do we say that?
How do you say it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so.
You are my Duke, aka Prince.
Sometimes King, because no one would show up.
Literally. Yeah.
I'll claim all the roles.
Yeah. You played all of them so well.
Yeah. I had a little taste of everything.
Yeah. Okay. So what was your experience with that? We'll get into that.
I actually liked the experience. I thought at first I was not going to. I was like a little hesitant. I think it's a lot of work, and I think people really like understand that when everyone's like, "Oh, you should run again." But it's like, I said this a couple of times, like, it's a lot of work fundraising, and then that takes like a year, and then you have your time on the court. That takes more time, and so it's a lot of work. But I think that our court was a court that got along really well.
Yeah.
And we kind of just made things happen. So it was a lot of fun. Fiesta kicked my ass. I think that we had a lot of stuff.
Same.
That we were like, man, these days are long. There's a lot of events, a lot of parades. But I think it's worth it. I think, like, if you're going to do it, you may as well go all in. You know what I mean? Like, no matter your title or how much money you raise, like, you're on the court for a reason. And so you got to represent. You got to show up to everything. So, yeah, it was great. I loved it. With you, Izzy, Alyssa, Sandy, when our prince and princess would show up, of course, them as well. But...
Mm-hmm. What did you really think about it? No. No.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was overall good. Like, a good experience. I liked it.
It was great. You know, I would too.
I mean, but you need to. You're the queen.
No, I don't need to. And I still, people are like, are you going to do it again? Do you get to do it every year? I'm like, no, I'd have to campaign my ass off again.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I wanted to win, and I won, and like, that's it. And now I'm like,
I kind of miss it.
I kind of do. Like,
yeah.
I didn't think I would, but I also didn't think a year would go by so fast.
Yeah.
I feel like we blinked and it was gone.
Yeah. I look back at it, like, while we're seeing the current court go through everything they're going through and, like, the parades and all that kind of stuff, and then the memories from our stuff is, like, popping up on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. I'm like, dang, like, we were doing this too. And I do miss it. Like, it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. But then I'm also like, it was nice, like, this year to be able to go to Fiesta and just enjoy it. Like, there wasn't a lot of responsibilities. You were just there to...
I mean, no, I feel like I worked harder this year. I literally did.
Yeah?
Yeah. I literally had to, like, get a local stylist. Yeah.
Fancy.
Yeah. I mean, shout out Deja Chanel, because I was like, I can't. Like, I'm going to lose my fucking mind if I have to go through my closet, because I have like 5 closets and 2 racks of clothes, and I'm still like, I have nothing to wear.
Nothing to wear. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like that.
It always happens. So I'm like, going to the store. I need to find something to wear.
Yes. So I'm like, please help me. And she did. But yeah, I definitely worked way harder this year, which is wild.
I had a great Fiesta. We didn't do too much stuff, but we always loved King William. That was great.
Oh, yeah.
And then we went to Nyosa, and we actually went to Tejano Explosion. We didn't do any parades, but I was kind of worn out with the parades.
Same.
Yeah.
Honestly, I missed the night parade, and I was like, I saw half of the day parade.
Yeah.
Most of it.
Mm-hmm.
We were.
But I feel like you're always everywhere. Like, it's not just Riverwalk stuff. It's just like you're in the know and you're constantly being pulled here and there. So you kind of have a lot of responsibilities, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory.
True. You know, ask and you shall receive.
Yeah. It's what you wanted.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Seriously, I know, because I got asked to be like an official content creator for Fiesta
Mhm.
this year. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm so excited. I'm like one of 10, like in
Yeah.
the city. And then it started and I was like, okay.
Yeah. I think it's crazy. Like, that kind of stuff is fun. So many people want to be like content creators and they want to be known for that. I think it's amazing, but I couldn't do it. I don't think I'm cut out for that kind of stuff because I easily get overwhelmed. My husband, he was born for it.
Yeah,
He can
he's
do
like,
stuff
let's do it.
yeah, get me in front of a camera, like get me in
Yes.
front of the spotlight. Me, if I get too overwhelmed, I cut back. Well, like the Pride Parade. Remember, I jumped off the float like, oh, I'm done. Yeah, I'm
You're
done.
like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
I'm gonna stop here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a lot of times people will tell us like, man, you guys are so busy and you guys are doing this and doing that, and like being in the know. It's nice because people, I feel like Ruben and myself have both kind of like built a name for ourselves, and
Yeah.
so like people do recognize us and they do see us doing things, and that's great to have that like recognition. But I can't do the whole like too much spotlight, or like it's too much for me. So sometimes I'm like, man, these content creators have to have patience. They have to be like ready to go and wherever
It's so
they need
much
them to be.
work.
Yeah.
I
Ruben
mean,
loves it.
yeah, I know. Like, you see it all the time with Ruben.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see y'all's videos, and they're like amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I need y'all's videographer.
I get burned out doing a 1 minute dance video for like Zumba. I'm like, oh, I'm good for a week.
And you do them all the time.
Yeah, but sometimes I do like multiple at a time, and then
Oh, you batch your content.
and then I'm like, oh, I can post it this day, or
Yeah.
I'm good for a couple of weeks, and then I'll stay. I'll post on my story daily,
Yeah.
but like to actually do content and videos, it's a lot. Ruben just got back into it, and so, I mean, he's good at doing it, and he'll tell me like, you're not visible enough. You got to put yourself out there, and
It's true.
he's a good coach.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, he should be my coach. Like last week when we
Ruben,
were,
if you're watching, if you're
yeah,
listening.
please, yeah. I know. Last week we were at Drift and Dine, and he was like, "Hey, so come here really quick. I feel like what blah, blah, blah," and I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Well, let's
Maybe we
talk."
change it. Yeah.
Okay, like we'll do like a lunch or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me some more feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, so what got you into Zumba, and then what got you into real estate? Because those are very different things.
Very different.
Yeah.
Zumba was kind of just like by accident. Like, I had never taken a class, but I've always danced. Like, I've loved dancing since I was like little. I danced in high school, and then I started working for the YMCA. And when I was working for them, I was also doing the Spurs. It was Team Energy back then. It was now they're the Hype Squad. They're the ones that kind of replaced the Silver Dancers. But back then I was on Team Energy, and then I danced for the WNBA, so I was on Star Squad. And
nice.
when I was working at the YMCA, the manager of the branch that I was at, or the location I was at, was just like, hey, I hear you have a dance background. Like, we need a Zumba instructor. Like, we need to fill some spots. Are you willing to go get your license? We'll pay for it. And I was just like, sure. Never had taken a class in my life. So I always laugh about this. I took the class there at the gym that I worked at, and it was terrible. Like, I walked out. Like, I was like, I can't do this. And I even told him, he was like begging me. He's like, no, we can do it. Like, I know you can. So they sent me to Dallas. I got my license. I was back in 2012. And then ever since then, I've been teaching. Like, I just kind of got into the groove of it.
Yeah.
And there's been plenty of times where I'm kind of like, okay, I'm over it. Like, I'm burnt out. Gonna throw the towel in. But it's been like a huge part of my life. And when I lost my dad in 2015, and that's when I got like more invested into it, because it really helped me like mentally like get through it. Because not only was like I working out, and I was working out and teaching these classes, like I felt better doing it, but also like the students that I taught. Like, I had huge classes at the Thousand Oaks YMCA.
Oh yeah.
And I had this huge following there. Like, the members were great to both me and my family, to Ruben. And that just kind of like made me stick with it. And then I started seeing other instructors like from all over doing like big things with it. And I was like, you know what? Like, I could really do something with this. So I just started to work my ass off, really. Like, I was watching videos and attending different trainings and things to kind of like help me be a little bit stronger as an instructor. And then it just stuck. And as many times as I've tried to walk away, I always get pulled back in.
So I didn't know that you needed a license.
Yeah, so you have to go to an all-day training, and then a lot of people always get mixed up because people say certification and a license. No, it's a license to teach, because you don't take a test. So you literally just attend the all-day training, and once you're done with that, you have your license. But it's only good for 6 months, and then you have to retrain again.
Dang.
If you pay your monthly fees, then you never have to license. Like you automatically.
For Zumba specifically?
Specifically, yeah. But I do have my group exercise license as well through like a national exam. That one you take a test for, and you can teach group exercise classes. So boot camp, Zumba, bar, whatever. That helps you. And some gyms require that. But right now I've been teaching at a private studio, so I don't really have to worry about having that. But yeah, I've done a lot with Zumba. I've been able to travel and teach. Went to New York, and Zumba has a competition called Zumba Next Rising Presenter.
Yeah.
And I did it in 2020, and people from all over, you apply, you have to submit some videos, and then they pick up top 5, and then you go present in front of like the creator of Zumba and all these people, and then they pick a winner, and then after that it's supposed to take you to the next level. And so I did it in 2020. I didn't win, but I was a finalist. We went to New York, and it was right when the pandemic was happening. So like while we were there, people were kind of going back and forth like, hey, are they going to shut it down? Like, are we still doing this? And they were like, yeah, we're still having it. So the moment I got back, the world shut down, and it kind of like slowed us down, like the 5 of us. But it's been good. They still do the competition yearly, and yeah, it's good. It's fun.
Yeah. That's wild. Okay, so then why real estate?
Real estate, I saw how much Ruben, like my husband, has grown and how much he's done in such a short amount of time. Like he went into it, and he like went into it like guns blazing. Like he was ready to rock and roll, and he's seen huge success, and it was just like motivating to me. And I've been in corporate America for such a long time that I was over it. I was tired of having to answer to someone else, or request time off, and or have to work for, and clock in and clock out, or I can't do this. And with Ruben, like with real estate, like you work hard, but you still have that freedom of, I get to do, make my own schedule and things like that. And when we first got together, we really struggled, like financially. We were just like not in a very good place. And so when I saw how well he was doing, and our life pretty much take like this turn, like for the better, I felt like, you know what, like we can't afford to go on trips. We can do this, we can do that. And having that full-time job in the corporate world, like it was holding us back, like where we couldn't just drop what we were doing and go to Mexico or go to Vegas and things like that. And so I was just like, you know what, I need to get into something that's going to allow me to enjoy life with Ruben, and so I was just like, I think real estate's where it's at. He's the perfect coach. He's the perfect team lead and guide for me to help me be successful too. And I don't expect to, just starting out, I don't expect to see the numbers that he sees, but I know he can push me and guide me. And together, I was just like, there's no way like we can't be like a powerhouse together. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love it. It's a lot to learn. People think that it's easy, and the freedom's nice. But I actually struggled with the freedom. Like I always felt like I was doing something wrong, or like I'm like, oh, I didn't clock into something.
Yeah.
Or like I need to be answering this. And so I adjusted now, and I like that freedom and that flexibility, and it's great. Yeah. And it's also a great way to give back. Like my parents have never purchased a home, and we purchased our first home. And so like as a real estate agent and being in that industry, like being able to help people who think they can never buy a house or have that opportunity to invest in something like that, it's a good feeling. Like when you're finally there, it's just like, dang, like you really helped them like achieve a goal and made their dream come true. And so it's rewarding at the same time.
Yeah, I can imagine. I had a broker on not that long ago, and she said the same thing. And, she came from a background that was, for lack of better words, poor. And so she said to be able to give back to like her own people and people that she grew up with or grew up around, like, no, you can purchase a house. Like it's not impossible. Will it be super easy? No, especially depending on the market. Right. But yeah, I mean, so now she was a recent broker. So she's like, now I get to help people on like a bigger scale.
Yeah, bigger scale. Yeah.
So I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. No, and it's cool. One of the things that kind of like really got me into it and inspired me was Ruben sold a house. I'm pretty sure it was on the south side of town because that's where he grew up. But he sold a house that he grew up in as a child.
Wow.
And his parents were renting for the longest time. And there's a video on his Instagram. he's really good at creating that kind of content to
Yeah.
kind of like remember these big moments. And the moment he did that, and he was just like, man, like I went from living into this house, you know, my parents rented it, to getting it sold, and now we have our own house. It was just like a life-changing kind of thing. And that's when I was really like, you know what, he loves it, he's doing great things, like why not do it together?
Yeah.
So
I
that's good.
love that. I've thought about doing it
Mm-hmm.
because it's like one thing I haven't done. I'm like,
What
yeah.
else can I do?
Yeah, and not because it looks easy. I don't think it's easy at all.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a hustle.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, you know, I don't know. I kind of like that. I definitely love freedom.
Yeah.
But I also like the
Mm-hmm.
hustle. So
Yeah, and it's also too like I went into it thinking like, of course I'm gonna sell houses to make the money,
yeah,
but I just love helping people and meeting people. So it's just like if I'm gonna help you with an apartment or renting, like I love talking to people, so I
yeah.
like that part of it too.
I feel like you're a really good realtor
Thanks.
because you're just like personable. You know?
Everyone told us that. Like when I announced that I was getting my license and we posted the video that I was gonna join the R group, they were like, man, you guys are going to do great. Y'all know so many people. You guys are so welcoming. Your smiles and you're so friendly and outgoing. And yeah,
It's
I
true
like to
though.
use that as a
As you
perk.
should, because there's a bunch of like asshole realtors, which I'm sure you've met some
Mm-hmm.
of them, like that are just like strictly in it for money, or they just like don't care. Oh, you don't
Mm-hmm.
get the house, cool, whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally a roof over their head,
And communication's big too.
for sure.
Like communicating with your clients and making sure like, because there's questions, you know, like there's two clients that I've worked with where they've had bad experience with other clients, with other realtors because the communication just dropped.
Yeah.
One of them was a language barrier. The other one was just like, we felt like they were lazy.
Mm.
And so I've obviously, like I said, like I've learned from Ruben and I see what he does and I follow and I know that
Yeah.
it's not going to always be rainbows and butterflies, but
Sure.
like, you get it done.
Sometimes you have to give bad news
Yeah.
because underwriters suck.
Yeah. You're just like, damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So, well, like, what's your goal with that, or do you have one? I'm sure you'll have like some 5-year plan or something.
oh, for sure. I want to grow as an agent and I
Yeah.
want to, like I said, I don't expect myself to be as well known as some of these major agents here in town, but I just want to continue to help people. So no matter what it is, to me, it's honestly not for the money. I've never been a money person.
Yeah.
Like I honestly think money's evil. But it's nice, you know, like I've gone without, but I've always been thankful for what I had.
Sure.
And so, to me, it's kind of just like, I want Ruben to grow. I want him, you know, like I tell people all the time, like he wants to build this empire
Mm-hmm.
and I just want to be a part of it. And if there's any way that I can help him, then that's what I'm going to do. So that's why it's a benefit for both of us as me as an agent.
Y'all are so cute. Wait, how did y'all meet?
Mutual friends.
Okay.
Everyone always asks this question. So, mutual friends. He lived in the same apartment complex as my best friend out in Austin because he went to UT.
Okay.
And so we were friends on Facebook. And then I ran into him a couple of times out in Austin on the E-bus, like going to 6th Street. And so we knew the same kind of people. And then one day he was an Advocare rep. He's always selling something. And I was like on this health clinic. This was years ago. So I was like trying to lose weight and be active and do all this stuff. And so he was having an Advocare mixer. He messaged me and he was just like, hey, I'm having this mixer if you can come. But that day there was a Spurs game. And so I couldn't go, like I was working.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm not going to make it, but just send me the information. And if something, you know, changes, I'll let you know and I'll come out. And so then he was like, okay. So I would always see his stuff. I would always talk to my friends about him. Like, do you see Ruben's post? Like, he's doing this and he's doing that. And then it wasn't the same Spurs game, but one night after a Spurs game, we all changed at the AT&T Center. We went out to the Strip. We went to Sparky's.
Mm-hmm.
And I was with all my friends. They know him as well. And he walks in. And I was just like, oh, my God, like, Ruben's here. And they're just like, oh, go say hi. And I was just like, no. And one of my friends was just like, hey, our friend David wants to dance with you. And he was like, oh, well, if he wants to dance with me, he can come and ask me. He was trying to be that
I'm
person.
like, that sounds like him.
Yeah. And so then I was just like, okay, like I didn't go. I was just like, whatever. So then some song starts playing and we all like start dancing like by the DJ booth there at Sparky's.
Uh-huh.
And next thing I know, like someone taps me, grabs me and starts dancing with me. And it was Ruben. And we always laugh about this because my friend that we were with, like she was like doing like a turn and like face the other way. But when she came back around, I was gone. Like I was with Ruben. So she was like, what the hell? Yeah. So I kind of left her hanging. But then like after that, the rest of the night, we spent the rest of the night together and we just kind of like started talking. We never gave each other phone numbers. We were just messaging through Facebook. And then after that, we just clicked and the rest is history. 5 years married now.
Oh.
We got married in 2019.
Nice.
And yeah, we were together since 2014. So
dang,
is when we first met.
That's like 40 years in gay years.
In gay years, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like
for us getting married in 2019 was way late.
Yeah.
We should have been married like.
Yeah, like
we
the next
moved
day.
in. We did move in quick though. We did move in. He had just moved back from Austin. I was living in New Braunfels, and going back and forth for work in San Antonio, and he was on the south side. So we were just like, man, this is too hard. Like we could only see each other at certain times, and he had to work, I had to work. So we would see each other in my Zumba classes, and after I would teach, like we would shower at the gym, change, go eat dinner, and then we'd go our separate ways. And it just got too hard. Like we felt it, and so we moved in right away together, and then never moved back. We've been together since.
So cute.
Yeah.
Aww. Do y'all celebrate every year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We do. This year, since we did 5 years, we did 5 rounds down. So we did a pub crawl.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I couldn't make it.
We invited our family and friends, and we got shirts made and everything. And we were just like, oh, it's 5 years. Like, let's do something cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we've gone on trips. And yeah, we try to. In September is when we got together, like when we were like boyfriends.
Yeah.
And then so sometimes we'll celebrate that. And then I proposed to him the weekend of my birthday. And so I always remember that.
Oh, you proposed?
Yeah. It was at the Tower of Americas. And he thought we were going to eat dinner, but I had all our family and friends at the bottom. Our friend sang and all that stuff. Surprised him, and then we all went out and just kind of celebrated him saying yes. That was December 17th. So I always think about that day, and then our wedding day is January 26th.
Mm-hmm. Any kids?
I'm dying for kids.
Are you?
Baby fever is insane.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have a few you can borrow.
People say that all the time. Like two of our good friends just had babies, and they're just like, we're waiting for y'all. They have to grow up together. One of them was just like, come over. Like, she'll help you with your baby fever. But yeah, hoping that we have kids soon. Yeah. We definitely want them. It's just such a process. But we've gone through like meetings for adoption and fostering. We've looked into having someone like be a surrogate mother and things like that. But it's just a lot to take in. But I think that right now, with the way our life is with work and everything that we have going on, it's like we really have to figure out how we're going to find that balance, because as much as we want them, we also know that we're doing a lot right now and we don't want to take away from the kids and stuff like that. So.
For sure. And it's like the hardest balance.
Yeah.
Because how do you build an empire and be successful and then also be there for your child?
Yeah.
Right?
People always ask me, like, I make a joke about it, but they're like, when you're having kids? And I'm like, if I could have been pregnant like 3 years ago, I would have been pregnant 3 years ago.
You're like,
and we're like, it's not that
pregnant.
easy. Yeah. But our family will ask us, our good friends and everything like that. And I think for me, like, what's the big, obviously I know that we'll both be great parents. Yeah. I don't have that doubt. We have a niece and we love her like crazy. Every time I see her and Ruben together, I'm like, man, like, I cannot wait to see him as a dad.
Yeah.
But for me, like, after losing my dad and then I lost my grandma, she was my last living grandparent. I've always told myself, like, man, like, I would hate for someone else to pass, like a parent of ours or like, you know, like my mom or someone, and them not get to meet our kids. So that's kind of my most important thing is just like, as much as we're not on a timeline, we don't want to be on a timeline, we're on a timeline. You know what I mean? Like, life is so short. And so that's my biggest thing. But I know when the time comes, it's going to be great.
Yeah. Now, you brought up something that's like potentially controversial, right? Of like adoption versus surrogate. Because there's so many kids that just don't have homes, especially here in Texas, like an insane amount.
Yeah.
So I like that you brought that up as like a potential option, right?
Yeah.
But then I think people have that want still to like have their own. Right.
Yeah.
So like, where are y'all? I mean, no, this is personal, but like.
Yeah. No. I'm not against either one. I think both of them are worth it. It comes down to really like, I feel like it's such a process. So you really have to plan, and you think about finances, and not only do you have the finances of getting the adoption done or the surrogacy done, you have the finances of now having a child to care for, and giving them everything that they need. So that expense is really scary, but I know that it's worth it. I think the only thing that I have trouble with, and we it's so sad because, like you said, like there's so many children that need homes, and I see stories all the time, but the process is kind of difficult to adopt, and it's long, and so that's what's sad. And then also too, like we went to meetings and like sat in on Zoom calls and just to get information about the process and things, and it's just like sometimes it's like they want to like bribe you to take the kids, and it's just like that's not it. Just it sits differently for us. Like we were just like no. And then fostering to me was like 100% out. Like that is the biggest one that I was like no, like because I get too close too fast,
Like
too attached. Yeah, there you go. And so when they told us like like for fostering, the anyone who can do it, like I applaud them, because to me it would be very difficult to be caring for these kids and you get attached and you fall in love with them and you give them everything they need, and then they can easily be taken back and given to someone within their birth family, because that's the main goal, is getting them as close to their birth family as possible. So aunts, uncles, grandparents is what they told us, and we both just said like like it, we would hate to be in that situation. And
Sure.
that's why like I have friends who have done it before, and know plenty of people who do it, and that's why I say like I applaud them, because you have to have a very, very strong heart to do that. Like to be able to have those kids, like, placed back with their families after spending so much time for them. And maybe it's just me being selfish. Like, I don't want these kids to go anywhere. Like, I want them to be my kids because I want to love on them and give them the life that I think they need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a difficult, I guess, process.
I mean, I don't think it's selfish because it's true. You are putting a lot of like energy
Mm-hmm.
and time and love into like these children, right? I think it's really shitty how hard the process of adoption is.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I've heard, I hope that it's changed, but I've heard, especially with like same sex couples,
Yeah.
which I don't understand that either. When there's plenty of like heterosexual
Mm-hmm.
creepy people.
Yeah.
So like maybe focus more on those people.
Yeah.
Than people who are like happily together, have, a roof over the head, have great jobs or careers, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and just want to have a family.
Yeah.
And I understand they can't just like before, don't at me and shit, but like before, I mean, I understand they're not going to be like, yeah, here's a kid,
Yeah.
but like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, don't make it so difficult because there are so many children.
Yeah.
I want to say like I think I'd read or I saw somewhere it was like 100,000 in Texas that are like without a home.
Yeah. And I see the stories all the time. Like people always ask, like, well, if you guys adopt, like what age? And I would love a newborn because I want to be able to go
Sure.
through the milestones with them,
Yeah.
and see them grow. But then also too, like I see stories of older kids who are just like who have been in the system for so long, and to me I'm less like, man, it's just so unfortunate because they don't deserve that kind. I don't think any child deserves to go without,
Sure.
without the things that they need to have like a great life and a good education and a stable home and like a loving family. And my family is so big, mainly on my mom's side, but like even my dad's side, like everyone's just so loving and like always wants to be there. And so like when I see my cousins and I grew up together and very, very close. So when I see them with their kids, and I love seeing them, I love spending time with them, and I'm just like, man, like I just know that the day and the moment that we have kids, like our family is gonna love them like crazy. And I tell Ruben, like we have the biggest support system, family, friends. And so yeah, when I see these stories about these kids who are like the news will post it every now and then, like, this kid's hoping to get adopted or out of the system before their 18th birthday. And I'm just like, man, they went all these years without just like the right amount of love. And so my biggest thing is just like adopting allows us to really provide for the child that has gone without or will go without because their parents just don't think they can do it. So,
And I commend those parents.
yeah.
Honestly, because if you can't, don't.
Mm-hmm.
And if, you're not open to being a parent or want to be a parent, I mean, there's other ways to not
Yeah.
be a parent. But, if you're in that predicament, then
Mm-hmm.
yeah, kudos to you for handing that child over because I can't imagine that would be easy.
Yeah, for sure.
at all. Like that's a huge decision to make. And then it makes me sad that there's so many kids that are mistreated as well. And like I have friends that have worked in like CPS and stuff and like and social workers, and they're like, I can't. Like they go to school for it, get their masters, get their, everything. They start working and they're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Like to see these kids be abused and mistreated is like.
I think that was one of the things that I saw too, because I went to school, like when I graduated high school, I went to UTSA, and I'm like shy, like of hours, like to get a degree, and I was doing a bilingual education, and just going into the classrooms and seeing the kids, like I think that was another thing that really had the effect. Like I know being a teacher, it's not easy, like it's a lot of work, but seeing like the different lifestyles that these kids, like it just made me, it always, like every time I walked away from like being in the classroom and like working with the kids, like I would get sad, and I'm like, man, I feel sad. Like I feel like, the kids tell you stuff, and then you kind of see like maybe like the way they're dressed, so you can just tell that they don't come from the greatest home. And so I would see that, and I was just like, I don't think I could do this every day. Like I would want to take every kid home with me, and make sure they had everything they need, a good meal and a great place to sleep. And when I would see that, I was just like, oh yeah, I can't do that. So then I changed to business, and then when my dad got sick, I was just like, I can't do this. So I got out of school, and I just kind of focused on family and myself.
You ever think about going back?
Yeah, I have. And I think one day I will, just not now. I don't think you're ever too late. It's ever too late to go back.
Never.
Like, so I think I would. But I feel like right now, like just with where our life is, it's not a good time.
I feel that. Yeah. I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's crazy. Like I have peers that are graduating like tomorrow and Friday, and I'm going to be attending, and I'm like, fuck, like a year ago that was me. And it's crazy because I'm like, what have I done in a year?
Yeah.
Which I've done a lot, but like career wise, like,
yeah,
not really. And like people are like, oh, like you're not practicing, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it. And I think as long as you're okay with it, like I did try, don't get me wrong. Like I tried for like a second to, get jobs and stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to kick down a door that's not meant to be open right now. And all of these other doors are being opened is regarding like content creation, podcasting, right? All of this stuff. So I'm like, let me just go where, like, I'm going to go with the flow, and I'm going to go where, doors are opening, because I'm not going to sit here and kick down a door. And then I like hate it. Like that career's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. Do I want to do it? Yes. I'm still kind of doing it. Even like, having conversations with people and sitting here, like still talking.
Yeah. There's so much stuff that I want to do too. So kind of just like, not just with real estate, not just with Zumba. Like I'm like, well, the degree will help me. Of course, I'm going to go, and I'm going to be able to say like, yeah, I have a degree. I finally finished school. Great. I can't wait for that day. But there's so many other things that I want to do. And, like with everything great, going so great for us, like in real estate, I'm kind of like, I'm going to ride this wave and just kind of continue to see us grow. And, my biggest thing is like, I want to be a supportive husband. I want to be able to support Ruben in all that he does. And if being a real estate agent on his team and allowing me to help him in any kind of way, like I'm going to do that. And,
I love that.
I want to open like an event space, and I want to be like an event coordinator, and I want to do all these kind of things. And I'm just like, okay, one thing at a time. Like,
right. But do it all.
Yeah. But do it all. Like,
why not? And I hate that when people are like, why do you do so many things? I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
Like,
I had my license. I went to school at Aveda. I got my cosmetology license. And every now and then I'm just like, man, I feel like styling hair, and I'll just call people or whatever, like do things like that.
Feel free to call me.
Yeah, whenever you want.
I'm here.
I'm available. Like I bought a new blow dryer the other day, and I was like texting people like, do you want to come over? I'll do a blowout.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't get a text.
Yeah, sorry.
That's so weird.
So weird.
Weird. I get maybe my phone was off.
It was the day of the eclipse.
Might have been. It was the eclipse. It was the eclipse. Magnetic fields. Yeah, that's why. That's fine. Wow. It's not awkward at all. No, I'm kidding.
That's so funny. Yeah.
No, but I think that's cool. Like you and Ruben too, like you guys are all over the place, but in a good way, like the best way possible. You're making yourself seen and known, but people also know you for like who you are, and like y'all are good people. Yeah.
That's my biggest thing is I think that's another reason why like I don't like the spotlight, or I get overwhelmed with things, because I care too much about what people think about me. 100%. I hate negativity. I hate confrontation. And if I think that, like, if I'm in a setting where there's a lot of people who are trying to acknowledge me, and I feel like I may have been short with one person, but I'm over here talking to you like crazy.
Yes.
I'm like, damn, they think a certain way about me. They think I'm stuck up, or
Yeah.
they think I know it all, and things, and all that kind of stuff really runs in my head. Like, like when we did all of our parades and people were wanting pictures and talking to us or going to events and they ask all these questions. Like, I feel like if I don't acknowledge people a certain way, they're going to think a certain way about me. And I've always thought about that.
Yeah.
And because I don't like confrontation, I try my best just to kind of like avoid any kind of situation where I would rub someone the wrong way. But then I also get in my mind and I'm telling myself, like, well, you're not always going to be everyone's cup of tea.
True.
So who gives a shit? You let people not like you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think I'm just like, I'm very similar to you. But then I'm like, no, I'm a shot of tequila. Like, I'm not a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And you like me or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm unapologetically myself. However, I am very much like, oh, fuck. Like, I didn't say hi, or like they smiled at me. I had to smile back. Did I smile back? How big was I smile? Did it look like, do I have RBF?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I definitely think about those things and like, who is that person? Should I know that person? Should I network with that person? Like, cause you never know, right?
Yeah.
Never wanting to dismiss anybody, like over complimentary. I am definitely like, against confrontation.
Yeah.
However, if it comes to me,
I always say that, like, it
but
takes a lot for me.
Yeah.
When it comes to confrontation, like, it takes a lot for me not to like someone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if I don't like you, and you're going to know it, because I'm going to distance myself. I'm not going to, like, talk shit to you. I'm not going to want to fight you. I'm going to distance myself from you. And it's just like, I know where we stand, why we are where we are. And that's it. Like, I can't hold a grudge for the life of me.
I can't hold a grudge, but I also like, if you've proven to me that you're just like a shit person,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit here and like
Yeah.
let you treat me like shit. But same, like, I'll just distance myself. I'll always be like, hi, like,
yeah,
I'll keep
I
it
try
cute.
to be cordial.
Yeah.
And there's been people, like, I've had situations with, like, family, friends where they've made me feel like shit. They've told me very hurtful things, and like, they've drug my name in the dirt, and I'm just like, oh, it is what it is. And I don't forget it. I know that you've done it. I remember what you did. I'm gonna somewhat dismiss it, and then I'm just gonna let it be there. And I'm not gonna go around talking about you. I'm not gonna hate you.
Yep.
But the moment that you continue to do it, after we've already resolved it, I'm gonna then say something or react to it. And so I always try to just be not dismissive, but the bigger person. I hate saying that because I feel like that's so cliche. Like, when we go low, when they go low, we go high, or whatever. I feel like life is too short.
Yeah.
And so I'm always kind of like, you know what? I don't want to have to deal with this, and I don't want you to think that I hate you or things like that. So I always just try to be cordial.
Yeah.
It is what it is at the end of the day.
I'm literally the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're like the same.
But you're also a lot like Ruben. Like, when you said you're unapologetically yourself, that's him. He says it all the time.
I mean, it's true.
Like, he is who he is. And
yeah. I don't, and it's crazy because, like, contrary to maybe popular belief, I don't like the spotlight.
As much as I'm everywhere.
As much as I'm in front of every camera, any chance I get, I'm not. Like, to me, there's such a distance between, like, right now, it's you and me.
Yeah.
I have no idea who's going to watch this. I don't know how many people. I mean, that'd be great if there's a bunch, right? But I don't know them.
Yeah.
And so right now, it's just you and me. And that's how I think of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you put me in a room full of people and they're like, oh my God. Or like, even my friends are like, oh no, this is Dr. Natasha and she does blah, blah. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we just stop? And I'm like, anyway, what do you do? How are you?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to talk about me.
I can handle big crowds. So I'm kind of the opposite. Like, when it comes to Zumba, like, I can teach a class to like tons of people. But the moment you put me in a studio with like 8 people, I'm like,
wild.
Yeah, I can't. Because then I'm just like, man, they're really watching. And
true.
Like, they're going to be able to, come up to me afterwards and critique me and be like,
See, but I think of it as like the opposite. There's like, if there's 100 people in the crowd, there's 100 eyes.
Yeah.
Looking at, or 200 eyes, but 100 pairs of eyes. They're looking at me, and I'm like, if I'm wearing open toe shoes, like, did I paint my toenails? Like, are they good? Like, are my jeans okay? Like, is my hair okay? You know what I mean? Because somebody's always critiquing. They are.
Oh, for sure.
They're just people.
Mm-hmm.
And I have friends and like family that are like, no, nobody cares, nobody's looking. I was all, bitch, everybody's looking.
Yeah.
They just do. It's a people thing.
No, yeah, I can do big crowds. Like I love public
Cannot.
speaking.
Fuck
The
no.
the smaller setting, I'm like, ooh.
No, I black out.
Yeah.
If you put me in front of more than like 20 people,
Yeah.
I'm like, bleh, and like I don't know what I say.
Yeah, and even like when we used to do like team energy and like have to be on court or like like Star Squad and stuff like that, like I never got shy because I'm just like, yeah, there's a lot of people watching you. Like we performed at the Alamo Dome when they did the championship celebration or whatever, and it was
Nice.
like full, and I was just like, well, they can't see me, they're all far. Like,
But I think that's different because
yeah,
also you're with a group. If it was
yeah,
just you in the middle of that court, you know
I'd
what
be
I
like,
mean? That'd be a little different.
yeah, no, I just,
Because there's eyes on like your whole group.
and if there's a big, I found like that for me, what works is like if you're in front of a big crowd, like I look past people, like
Yeah.
if there's all these people, like I'm gonna look at that curtain behind you and I'm gonna focus there and I'm gonna fake smile, like you don't know that I'm not smiling to the person behind you or
Yeah.
things like that. I'd much rather be in a bigger setting than a smaller setting.
That's wild.
Hmm.
I do like clam up though.
Yeah.
I don't know why I do
Oh,
that.
I do too. I
Yeah.
was nervous sitting here because I was like,
Yeah. See, but you're super like chill. Like
Yeah.
you're not like, look at me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You're just not.
hmm
So like I get that. But like I feel like I am as like a person. Once you get to know me,
hmm
like my best friend's like, dude, you're fucking hilarious and you're like crazy, like in a good way for the
Yeah.
most part. But like, so she's like, let people fucking see you. And I'm like, oh, but
Yeah.
that's
I
another level of like vulnerability.
I think I'm pretty outgoing. Like sometimes I do get shy for sure.
Yeah.
But people tell me the same thing. Like a lot of people tell me that I'm just like my dad.
Mm.
And that's why I'm just like, oh, that's perfect. Like my dad was a great time.
Yeah.
And I love to go out and have a great time. I mean, you already know we but yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah.
I love to be very, very outgoing and friendly, meet new people, but I also care a lot about what people think about me. So
Yeah.
I don't think that I have like a guard up. I just sometimes if it's too overwhelming, I shut down. And Ruben's really good at balancing me out. Personalities are a perfect balance. Like he's more like
Yeah.
out there and getting it, and he can hold a grudge. Like he can hold a grudge.
He's like, no.
And I'm the opposite, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good. I feel like we both kind of like find that middle ground for each other.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we just both tell each other like we have to remain humble at all times.
Always,
Mhm.
always. And that's like, I'm really big on that, especially with like content creation
Mhm.
or like whatever you do.
Yeah.
If you're out there in the public, like you are a face and a name for San Antonio
Yeah.
and you're putting yourself out there, like, and then you act like an asshole. Like, don't do that
Yeah.
because then they're going to think like, oh, everybody in San Antonio is like an asshole
Yeah.
or whatever the case is. Like, same with content creators. I'm like, understand where you started. Like,
Mhm.
we all started somewhere. Some of us are still working towards goals.
Mhm.
And just because you're invited to like the top whatever, you get it, whatever, like that's amazing.
Yeah.
So happy for you. And there's amazing content creators that are like, no, like this is awesome. I love this. And then there's some that are like, of course I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, do you know who I am? And
Well,
I'm
see,
like,
I think that's
"Oh."
what sucks, and that's why I know that I have that fear of ever like wanting to do content creating, like I said, because I've seen so many people like from here that I've loved. No, I'm not going to name them. That I am not a fan of anymore because they just rub me the wrong way, and I
yeah.
feel like the moment they took off
Yeah,
and things started going well for them, congratulations to you.
sure.
They weren't as humble, and they do somewhat change how they used to be. Their content's even a little bit different. And I see that and I'm just like, man, like I could not put myself out there as much as these people do because if I feel the way I feel about them, I know people are going to feel the way about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like I get that too because I've been doing it since like 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like because my content has changed so much and I went from just strictly interviews, not getting invited to shit, which is fine because
Right.
my focus was on like and like this is gonna sound, I don't know however it sounds, I don't mean it to sound bad, but like giving a voice to the voiceless.
Yeah.
Or it's like, here's my platform, which at the time was nothing. But like here it is, tell your story, like and I truly care about you. But I've been creating these friendships and like, like loyalties and all of that for years. And in turn now everywhere I go, someone's like, oh hey, oh hey. And it's not it was never to like get something, and it's not about money, right? It's truly because I love people and I want to like get to know people, but I wanted people to tell their stories. Where now I do get invited to things, and so I have to make sure there's like a balance of like, how do I continue to evolve and
Yeah.
kind of like get with like, you know, get
Yeah.
in the stream. I'm in the stream now. So like, how do I do that and still stay true to like where I started?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hard thing. So that's why like I love my podcast, because now I'm like, you get an hour of not just me, of this person, and like, but mostly the person. And then people are like, this is not an interview, Natasha.
Yeah.
Like, stop interviewing people. Like, talk about yourself. And I'm
Right.
like, no, but it's for them. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I have a
It's not just
guest.
about me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's important too. Like, even for us, like Ruben and I'll tell Ruben like, oh, we got invited to this, or he'll be like, hey, we have to go to this. Like,
Yeah.
different like galas, dinners, events, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's just like it matters the way you carry yourself.
For sure.
And I think that as much as people say like, oh, looks don't matter, image is everything, because
Yes.
that's like when you walk into the room, you're not talking, you know, like the way you carry yourself when you walk into the room, the way you dress, like it says a lot about who you are, not just professionally but personally. And so I'm big on that. And so I'm always kind of worried, like when you said like, oh, wear whatever you want, I was like, do I go comfortable or do I go like this, like
Yeah.
do I go dressed? Or but then I also want to be myself, and it's kind of
Right.
just like that's where I say like I go back and forth, because I'm just like, you're gonna take me for who I am,
Yeah.
and this is me. But I also pride myself in like really making sure that we carry ourselves well, both of us. Like,
So, and I completely agree, which is why I can never look like Tito. Like, I don't care if I'm like hungover. I don't care if I'm going off 2 hours of sleep. You're not gonna catch me slipping, because you never know,
yeah,
right? And but then I also struggle with that, and I don't know if it's like a female thing, or tell me if it's like a guy thing too. But like, there are times, and you've seen me like where I'm out, and like if I'm out, I'm out. Like I'm having a good time. I got the girls out. I got, you know what I mean? Like I'm
yeah,
I. It's taken me a long time to love myself,
yeah,
and so I do. And because of that, I'm gonna wear whatever the fuck I want to wear,
mm-hmm.
whatever I think is cute, whatever I think fits the occasion. And if I happen to be like hopping and I go to this next thing and it does not fit the occasion,
Yeah,
I will potentially feel uncomfortable, but this is also me.
yeah,
It doesn't take away from my education. It doesn't take away from my professionalism,
mm-hmm.
right? But to your stance, right? It is true.
Yeah,
People are, and it's happened to me so many times where I walked into a room and I've gotten like, and it's all from women,
yeah.
all from women.
No, I think it happens. It's not just a female thing. Like I think it's, I hate to categorize it, but it's a gay thing as well.
Mm.
Like going out into the gay community, like everyone knows it. If you don't look a certain way, if you're not super fit and wearing the smallest shorts and, you know, doing all these bro things as a gay, it's kind of like, you know, and like I struggled with it as well. Like I, at one point, like somewhat had an eating disorder where I wasn't eating and I was just like working out like crazy, ended up in the hospital.
Wow.
This was years ago, but because I felt like I kept telling myself like I have to look a certain way, like I have to be this size and I have to wear, and it's crazy because it's just like people think that only women go through that, but really it's everyone. And then also like being a part of the gay community, it's like that as well. Like you have this pressure of looking a certain way, wearing you know a certain thing, and um, so yeah, it's definitely not something that's like a thing just for women. It's for everyone.
No, I mean, I've definitely seen it in the gay community.
Yeah.
I didn't want to like call us out, but like,
Yeah.
but it's true. And predominantly with men,
Yeah.
they're
sure.
like, ew, or like they're vocal as fuck about it.
Mm-hmm.
Where like women, like, you know, I've gotten definitely like side eye or like looked up and down, been like hated on, whispered about, whatever. Gay men don't give a shit. They'd be like, ew, look like trash or like whatever. And I'm like, that's so rude. Not to me, but like I've overheard, like I've been in groups.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and somebody walk in, they're like, oh my God. It's like an immediate, they're like ripping people apart.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of it too. Like I can't say like I've never done that. I think we've all done it, but like there'll be times where we're out somewhere and I'm like, girl, you're not wearing that right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or come on, like you could have tried a little harder or something like that. Like, or sometimes I find myself like critiquing celebrities, like, why would you wear that? Like Becky G, come on, like stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
get it together, Becky.
I always just try to me, it's just like, it's like I said, it says your image says a lot about who you are. So when like as an instructor, like a Zumba instructor, I always like I shower before I go teach my classes. Sometimes I put makeup on, like I fix my hair. do all that stuff. And I make sure, because to me, when someone walks into my class and sees me put together, it's going to be motivating for them. They're going to be
Sure.
like, oh, I want to look like that. I want to, and I buy all the Zumba wear. Like, I spend way too much money on Zumba wear. Ruben would kill me if he saw the receipts.
Ooh.
Like,
He's all
but
really, David, now.
yeah,
Let me see
but
it.
I need the receipts now. No, but I bought all the Zumba wear. I bought all the shoes and everything because I wanted to look the part. And
Sure.
I think that it's important, but sometimes too, we have to just be ourselves, and that's okay.
And I think that again, like I've struggled with that, but I've had like close friends and family that are like, your brand is you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some outfits like not going on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Those are, if you see me, you see me, and that's it. But like, but that's again goes back to just because I'm confident and I'm like comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But then like even this, I'm like, I'm overdressed. You know what I mean? I'm very covered.
Yeah.
But I just, I don't know, I try to adjust for the situation. But regardless, I don't know, it's true. But I think too, like, and it's hard, right? Because I've done it too. Where like we talked about it, like where like I've seen somebody walk in, I'm like, ooh, like,
Yeah.
couldn't find a brush today, or like, and then I'm like, no, stop it, don't be like that, don't be an asshole. And
Yeah.
I'll tell myself like, don't be like that, because I don't know how they woke up.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were, woke up 15 minutes before and they're rushing to that
Mm-hmm.
event and they just didn't have time.
Or like what they're going through, like mentally.
Right.
Like, I always tell myself, I'm just like, be nice, but
Yeah. Well,
I think everyone has a mean side.
I mean, not me. I'm super nice. No, I am super nice, but no, you're right. Like everybody has those like,
Yeah.
like
Moments.
I just try to keep them. I try to keep my thoughts in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, not be judgy,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to be judged.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway, you want to talk about any childhood trauma or like no?
Yeah. What else do you want to?
No, I mean like what? I don't know. Looking back, like little David,
Mm-hmm.
like how proud of yourself are you to be where you are now?
I'm actually very proud of myself. And I say that in like the most like genuine way, but
Yeah.
I feel like I really struggled. Like I've the David that I am now, like I've taken on a lot. And like I help care for my dad's side of the family. My dad's not here. My grandma passed away. My aunt, my uncle, and my little cousin are the only ones left, like on my dad's immediate side of the family. And I've had to take on a lot of responsibilities, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Like she's about to graduate high school, and we're getting her situated with going to UTSA and doing things like that. And my aunt's, been, like in and out of the hospital, had some medical issues. So kind of like caring for them. And, when my grandma passed away, I was the like power of attorney. So I had to make very big decisions. And growing up, I had a great life, like I never had to go without. Like my family always spoiled me, no matter who it was, whether it was my aunt, my grandparents, my parents. Um, and thankfully, like coming out and being, like open about being gay.
Wait, you're gay?
Yeah.
Oh
I don't
my
know if you knew
God.
that, but yeah, I have a husband.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm. I like men. No, but
Just
I,
kidding.
I didn't come out until I was 21, actually, and it was like 2021. Yeah, I had been with girls all growing up.
Did they not know, or they knew?
I mean, I'm sure people knew, but yeah,
You just masked it.
I just did what I had to do, who I had to do, and made it work.
Wild.
But yeah, but even then, like the story of like growing up, someone just asked me the other day, like, growing up, like, were you bullied? And I was just like, no. Like, people would question, like, of course, like middle school, high school, people were like, oh, he's gay, and I would always deny it and things like that. But fortunately, like, I didn't have to have this crazy like upbringing of like not being accepted, and my family was very understanding. And I was able to come out to my dad before he passed away. Like, we had a full conversation. He met my boyfriend at that time and was great with them, and then he met Ruben. And yeah, I just, looking back at little David and everything, and then where we are now, I'm very, very proud of myself. We have our house, and I feel like we both have great careers, and we've been through our ups and downs. It's not been easy, it's not been perfect, but I
Yeah.
feel like we're in a very great spot right now. And I'm a very emotional person, and like I look back at things, and I'll cry. And like we went to Vegas last August for Ruben's birthday. We went to Kelly Clarkson. He loves Kelly Clarkson. He's obsessed.
Is he a Leo?
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the
He's a
best way
Leo.
possible, Ruben. In the best way
Yeah.
possible.
He's a Leo.
Yeah.
And I like we got out of the concert and I was just like bawling my eyes out. And he was just like, why are you crying so much? And we got back to the room and our friends were waiting for us because only the two of us went. And then we were going out. And I told him, I was just like, man, like Kelly Clarkson, like literally, we have video
I saw.
where she's like singing with him, like, and he's such a huge fan. I'm just like, man, like, we are in a very great place. Like, we've gone through so much, like, we've lost so much, we've won so much, but I'm just like, I get emotional because I get like thankful, like grateful for the moments that we have, and that I've never imagined being able to do the things that we do, have the things that we do, and so that's like where I look back and I'm just like, damn, I'm really proud of us. Like, I think we both do what we have to do to continue to. I've always said too, like, and my parents brought me up with, we never want you to live paycheck to paycheck. We never want you to go through what we went through and struggle. And I always keep that in the back of my mind. And I'm just like fortunate enough to be where we are. And I'm just like, man, like, I'm so thankful we're no longer where we were. Like, there was a moment where we were like, I posted about this before. Ruben had lied to me and like pawned an iPad that I bought him to pay for some of our bills and things like that. And so I look back at the struggles. I look back at losing my dad, losing my grandma. Um, Sometimes you feel like you're not enough. You're not doing enough. But then you look at the things around you and it really reminds you of, even when it's dark, even when it's hard, life is still great. There's always something to be thankful for. There's always something to be proud of, someone to be proud of. I tell Ruben all the time, like, how proud I am because he can be very hard on himself. But I know that without him, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't be who I am today. And it's just, yeah, definitely proud looking back.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
I did not think that was going to happen. I thought today was going to be fun. Like, I thought we were going to be like chismeando, like gossip hardcore.
I mean, we still can, but you don't want to say names, so.
Yeah. Woo. That was a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have to ask though, like, why did you hide it? Or like what
Being
made
gay?
yeah, like not, I don't want to say hide. I don't want to say that
Yeah.
you intentionally hid, right? But like what was your hesitation?
Honestly, I wasn't hiding. I always knew.
Yeah.
I always felt it. I always had like that attraction.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to go about it. I really didn't. I didn't have, and even to this day, like, I have gay friends, but I don't have gay friends. And I didn't really know. Like, I was just like, man, like, and of course it crossed my mind, like, oh, is my dad going to be mad? Is my brother going to be mad? But it was just, I don't think I was ever really ready. And these girls that I was with, like, I really did love them. Like, I absolutely loved them. And I don't want to say her name, but there was one in particular who I was like really in love with. My family was in love with. And at one point I really thought like, oh, this is it. Like, we're going to have kids. We're going to just, and I was just going to go on about it. And then I went some time where I was no longer with anybody. And I had that time to kind of just figure out who I was and kind of like experiment and kind of say like, you know what, it is what it is. And I have a cousin who's like a sister to me, and I went to her and we talked about it, and we were just like, okay. And I was just like, you know what, like, no, this is it. And then I started dating and kind of put myself out there, and I realized like, no, this is who I am. I felt something different. I felt like, okay, like, no, this is what love really feels like, and this is what I look forward to. I didn't feel like it was, I felt free, I guess.
Yeah.
When I was with guys, like, I just felt 100% myself. And so, yeah, I just decided to say like, hey, you know what it is. And like you said, like, oh, they didn't know, like, people knew, like, my aunt, my dad's sister, absolutely love her to death. She is like, both of my aunts, my parents both have a sister each, and both of them are just like amazing. And my aunt would always tell me growing up, like, her best friend was gay, and he actually passed away from AIDS. And I remember always seeing him there at the house, and he would always like joke around with us. And my aunt would always just make comments like, I will always love y'all for whoever y'all are, and who you choose to be. And she was the greatest. And she's actually was one of the ones that was like the most, I didn't even have to come out to her. Like, I came out to my parents, and my parents kind of talked to her and my grandma, and they never brought it up. It was just like a normal thing. Like,
Yeah.
we never had to talk about it. We never had to like have a one-on-one or address anything. Both her and my grandma were like, okay, it's David, and started asking me about guys. And I love both of my aunts for that because they're very understanding in
Yeah.
that sense. And my family just made it easy. And it was a weight off my shoulder. Like, I no longer cared. To some of my friends, I had a moment of like crying and like, sorry I didn't tell y'all and things like that. But yeah, the
Yeah.
moment it came out, it was,
They're like, okay.
yeah,
I love that for you.
yeah, it's been good.
I've been telling my boys, like, I'm like, so, because they're like into girls or into whatever. And so I'm like, hey, like, just, whoever you're into, like, as long as they treat you right and as long as you're happy.
Yeah.
And like because I'm always like, whoever you want to love, love is love. You know what I mean? And they're like, if you don't stop saying that, they're like, we like girls. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But if you don't, that's also okay.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that they know, like, they're
Right.
supported no matter what.
And I think that's the only thing you can do. Like, I think about that kind of stuff too. Like, I feel it's so unfortunate for those who have gone through like a hard time and coming out or have had to hide it. Or I feel like that is the most dangerous thing you can do, is like not accept someone for who they are, like a loved one, you know what I mean? Or a friend, whatever. Because you can get in a space where like you're questioning yourself so much, you start to have like this hatred to yourself. And it's just so unfair, like, for to have someone feel that way about themselves or who they are. And it's just so dangerous because you have people who like want to hurt themselves. And so it's just like, I can't stress it enough to anyone like listening or people who are going through that. Like, you have to love yourself, you have to be yourself, and
For sure.
you have to love the people around you for who they are, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it may not be, going back to not being everyone's cup of tea, it may not be ideal for you. It may not be the lifestyle that you agree with, but allow those people to be who they are and love themselves, because if they don't, bad things can happen, or they can live a very rough life, go the rest of their life with a hatred for themselves. And I just think that love at the end of the day is the most important thing that you can spread and that you can share with others. And you just have to be accepting of every walk of life, no matter what. So
I agree. Like, I officially like came out like 3 years ago.
I remember you telling me
I'm
at
like,
Paramore.
I'm like 29, so whatever. Do the math. But but no, I mean, and that was hard for me. And like, either my mom doesn't know or she's like playing dumb.
Yeah.
But she has not once like brought it up to me, and I haven't brought it up to her. But she like saw the post and was like, "Oh, that's cute. Like, what is that?" And I was like, "It's literally like National Coming Out Day." But okay. And so like, I just didn't have the like heart to explain it to her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna keep that where it is. But like, my aunt, like, you met my aunt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's like, girl, do whatever. Like, and then it's, then I'm met with this like stigma of like, oh, but you're married to like a man, and I'm like, sure. That doesn't mean I'm not me though, right? So that's like a whole nother like box that I'm kind of like being put into, and it's hard. And then I also don't like when people are like more accepting of like, let's say like me and like who I am versus like my friend who's transitioning. Like, don't be less accepting when they're open and I'm open, and like, just because I'm in a normal situation, like, which is not even normal, you know what I mean? Like, at this point, what the fuck is normal? But
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's just hard, and I totally understand the people who do struggle with it, because there's things that other people do that I don't like, and I'm just like, God, why would you do that? Like, I try to be open-minded to everything, like whether it's sexual orientation, politics. Like, there's some people who get so much like anger and hatred built up that it's just
for sure.
it's like, let people just live their lives. Like, at the end of the day, support who you want to support, love who you want to love. What goes on in your house has nothing to do with me. What goes on in my house has nothing to do with you. So yeah, I just wish people would be better people. You know what I mean? Like, be a good person. It doesn't take a lot to do that.
Right.
You know? And if you do feel a certain way, that's fine. Just remove yourself from it and keep it to yourself.
Right. Shut the fuck
Yeah.
up.
Like, don't, there's no need to spread all this hatred
No.
and like, that's why I get mad, like, about all the, like, politics shit that's going on, like Trump and Biden or whatever. Like, at the end of the day, fuck both of them. But I'm just like, there's no need to, like, hate someone because of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
or because I go to sleep with a man at night doesn't mean you have to hate me. You know, I don't hate you because you go to sleep with your wife. You
Right.
love her and you love everything about her. Well, I love everything about my man, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just hard. And I don't think we'll ever get to a point where we can get people to understand. But I think we're at a point where people are living more freely and aren't afraid to. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Speaking of, are you doing the Pride Parade?
Like in it?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
It's already on June 1st. I didn't know that. It's quick this year.
Shit. I'm like, I mean, if anybody wants to invite me, like, I'll be in it.
Hey, if anyone wants to be, I'm
yeah.
free.
Have you been? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I told Taryn too. I was like, if you ever need somebody extra,
Yeah.
especially for, you know, like military pride, like whatever is like, you know,
Yeah.
near and dear to my heart.
That's
So,
cool. Yeah.
Are you going to be with Ruben?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's different this year. I think it's like smaller barges.
Is it?
Not that many people. I don't know. I'll have to ask him. The theme's like colors. Like literally rainbow colors.
Like Crayola colors?
Is pink? I don't know if I'm disclosing information I'm not supposed to share, but
It's okay.
I think he said it was pink.
I love pink, so
oh my gosh, that's so funny. I have a pink car.
and I have like pink outfits. Like, so, you know, just tell me what time to be there.
Yeah, it's June 1st. I had no idea. I thought it was later in the month, but
When was it last year?
like mid.
Was it?
June?
Oh, it was like the 16th or something, right?
Like in the middle of the
Wild.
month. But now like literally June 1st. That's another thing. I always get nervous when we're in those parades.
Just in case.
Yeah.
I was nervous last year.
Yeah.
That was the only parade I was nervous in, and that's because people were like flicking us off or like had signs.
The first year I was nervous. We weren't on the court yet. I was nervous because our parents were on it and our niece. Like we made it very like family oriented. And my mom, my stepdad, his parents were on there. My brother-in-law and our niece. We were all on the barge. I was a little nervous that something crazy was going to happen, and I was like, man, but thankfully nothing. And then the year that we were on it, I think that was, of course, Crying for Everything. That's the year that I cried because that's where was it that year? Yeah, when we kind of got like a good response, like from people, like as the court, like they were nice and you know, supporting, and they were cheering us on and everything. Like that was nice because you go into it with this fear, but then when you see all like the positive things come from it, like the reactions of people, like I remember seeing like an old lady sitting in a hotel balcony, like throwing kisses and stuff like that. Like that's really sweet. And I always remind myself like the good is always going to outweigh the bad. Yeah. And there's, for every person that hates it, there's 100 more that are there for it. And yeah, it was good. But yeah, it is a little nerve-wracking for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That was the only one that I was like worried about.
Yeah. But I didn't get scared at the Pride Parade, like on the strip.
Oh, no. Not on the strip at all. It was the river.
Yeah, the river one for sure.
People were not nice. But there, like you said, for every one, there's 100 that were like, woo! So yeah, I was like, all right.
Yeah,
whatever.
I felt like we had a pretty good response. And I'm glad the city does stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the Riverwalk, whatever.
Yeah. I almost died of heat exhaustion, but yeah, I think we all did.
Yeah, because we were freaking Lady Gaga.
I know. Fucking Izzy. His head to toe was like, take it off. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So how do people find you? How do they reach out to you, contact you?
Social media. So our email, whatever, for Zumba purposes, I am official David Wayne on Instagram. And then for real estate, I am David Wayne Realtor on Instagram. And then I'm also on Facebook, but they can always email, call us, message me on there, and we can get them all our contact information.
Nice.
Me or Ruben.
So slide in the DMs if you want a house. And that's it.
Or take a Zumba class.
Or Zumba. Yes. Yeah. But that's it.
Yeah. Nothing
Yeah.
else.
No. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I
It was great.
appreciate
It was a
it.
good time.
Yeah, it was chill, right?
Yeah.
Went by fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over an hour.
Over and oh yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I know. Half, we got it.
All
All right.
right.
Well, thanks again,
Thank
and
you.
Ruben, let me know what time to be there on June 1st in my pink outfit. Thank you so much. All right. Again, thank you to Vodpa Media for housing and producing, and to Latina Podcast Network for having me in your network. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate all of y'all for listening and for watching. And make sure that you share and like and do all that and support my friend David on his endeavors. And I will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.